Well, about 3 years ago, I conducted an interview with, one of our sisters, Brenda Smith Lezama. Now, Brenda, I met her about actually 4 years prior at an event in Atlanta. Now, Brenda's mom is Mexican and her dad is Panamanian, but he's black. And we got to talking about, at least in that interview, about the Afro-Latinos in Mexico, how they are treated, and also about how some of them want to identify, not that Afro-Latinos, but how some of them in Mexico want to identify as white and have camaraderie, with white people, versus when you seeing the issues when it comes to what happens when they come over across that border in the United States of America, and they come with already the anti-black racism, and they want to buddy up and get cool, with the white supremacists the moment they get here, is because that's what they was already trying to do in their country. So let me roll a clip real quick, what Brenda was discussing, and let's talk about that. You mentioned earlier about the Afro-Latinos in Mexico being marginalized. I mean, could you expound on that? Like, they're prevented with essential services, like what they're actually doing to them to marginalize them?
What I mean is, like, the physical marginalization. I mean that literally Afro-Latino communities are found on the periphery of the country. So it's not always super common to find, for example, communities of Afro-Latinos or large communities of Afro-Latinos living in the heart of Mexico City or in the heart of Guadalajara or whatever it may be. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but I'm saying that you have to remember, Mexico is about 1% Afro-Latino, 1% Black. So the majority of that 1% is located around the coast.
What is even though they're low in population, but I've heard other people like this straight from Mexico say this, is that there is a particular racism against black people. Now the question I'm gonna ask you is, what did black people do to them to cause that?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
From my point of view, I think that it is something that has been passed along so much. I actually have somebody in my family who at one point was staying with us, and I found a journal that had been written, talking about all these racial slurs and referring to my dad, in derogatory ways, and he would refer to himself as white. And I would say, you are Latino, who is a descendant, most realistically, you're probably a descendant of a mix of Native and Spanish ancestors, but you want to identify so badly as white and denigrate somebody who is Black. Why? Because that's what's been taught. That's what's been taught. So I think that after exposure, the next thing would be education. But like I said, a lot of people don't go out and try to educate themselves on that and try to even just reach out to their neighbor and say, all right, what does make me so different from you? And I feel like to me and you, that might be so basic. To me and you, that may be everyday life. To me and you, that might just be like common sense. But you realize really quickly that common sense is not so common.
As you heard Brenda, explain how Afro-Latinos in Mexico, how they just discriminated against, they're not treated right, even though they're small in population. They've been there for at least 500 years. We do know that. And then also, when she said that, they didn't do nothing to nobody to deserve their treatment. Just like us here in America, we didn't do nothing to any group to deserve the treatment that we receive from many groups. You can't name one thing that we have done as a collective of people, historically all the way up to today, that we could say, okay, yeah, we really did do some bad things to these people. But the interesting part is the one group of people who've done bad things to everybody is the main people that they want to kiss up to. A matter of fact, something I didn't even know, because I'm not in no prison life or nothing like that. They were talking about in Southern California, in California prisons, do you know that those from Mexico and those in the Mexican gangs, they click up with the Aryan Brotherhood, like the white supremacists? That's who they want to buddy up with. They never team up with black people against the white supremacists. They always click up with the white supremacists. And it shows a lot from what Brenda is saying about in Mexico. They want to call themselves white, those who want to do that, of course, and have all these derogatory names toward black people. See, this is the stuff that been needing to be discussed, because when people are coming across that border into the United States of America, they bring in that mess with them. And I said before, we don't need to be importing a problem. We got enough racists to deal with in this country. Enough. We don't need to be importing them. We don't. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. There's only one political party in America that black people has this weird allegiance to, that believes in just flooding the gates open and letting people that have those attitudes come across the border. Think about that. Biden have no problem with people like that coming across the border. He has no problem with Ukrainians coming over here. When we seen videos in Ukraine of how they was treating Africans. But yet he's cool with them coming in, but let the Haitians try to come in and nope, get yourself right back to Haiti. And Haiti is a war zone right now because of what the powers that be. We know it was the Western powers that end up helping get the president assassinated of Haiti. Ain't heard nothing about that no more, and the country has descended into chaos. I seen a video on CNN about what's going on. Poor people in Haiti. Poor people. I don't blame them for trying to leave. After seeing that video, I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. You can't really fight against all the weapons that the gangs over there have. Now, Haiti does not even make weapons. So where they getting the weapons from? We know they get them from the West. We know this, to continue the chaos in black nations. But the Democrat Party underneath Biden has no problem with those people coming over here. And you wonder why it's more and more becoming a problem that you're seeing as their numbers rise up. You coming in with anti-black racism and attitudes. And this is why I'm focused on this particular topic. It's been coming up more and more, but we've been discussing this topic for a few years now. This is not a new interview that I conducted. This was 3 years ago. And I have, another interview I did with Brenda a year prior. And my thing is this. Black people all over the world should be speaking up and defending themselves and showing what's going on, because our brothers and sisters in Latin America, even though there's more of them in Latin America than we have us here in America, they need to start speaking up, saying something about it. And if you are not Afro-Latino, but you live in Latin America, you say, hey, wait a minute, that's wrong. That's wrong attitudes. You should speak up as well, because everybody needs to call that mess out. The way the world is working right now, we are in a globalized system now. You can't just get to your own little group now and just, I'm going to stay on this side. I ain't fooling with nobody. That's not the way the world works now. Everybody's dealing with everybody. Look at the situation with the virus that happened, right? It happened over there in China, but it ended up touching you over here in America. It touched you in Latin America. It touched you in the Caribbean. It touched you in Europe. It touched you in Asia. It touched you in the continent of Africa. Meaning we live in a globalized system now. People's issues don't just stay in their country no more. So I'm a firm believer of we need to eradicate anti-black racism no matter where it's at on the face of the earth. But this is a conversation I think is good, and we need to keep bringing this up because there are many people in Latin America don't like this conversation. And Afro-Latinos need to stand up and say, we are Afro-Latinos, we are black people. And yes, we are separating ourselves and delineating ourselves from you because we have to based on the treatment. But let me know in the comments what y'all think about, this conversation here with Brenda and, the brothers and sisters in Latin America. I'm with you. I'm with you. We take a stand, and I got our door open to hear conversations from you.